You planted those seeds with so much hope. You watered them, kept them warm, checked on them every single morning like a worried grandmother checks on her grandchildren. And then nothing. Or worse, something came up, looked beautiful for a few days, then just died. Here is what nobody is telling you. It was not bad luck. It was not your age. And it was definitely not that your hands have lost their touch. The truth is, there are 7 very specific mistakes that quietly kill seeds before they ever get a real chance. And most gardeners, even experienced ones, are making at least 3 of them right now without even knowing it. I am going to walk you through all 7 today. And I promise you, by the time we get to number 4, you are going to think back to a garden moment from years ago and say, oh, that is what happened. Welcome back to Easy Gardening for Elders, the channel where we grow smarter, not harder. If you are new here, this is your corner of the garden, built just for women like us who love getting their hands in the soil, but also love getting real, honest answers that actually work. Now let us get into it. 7 seed starting mistakes that are quietly killing your plants, and exactly how to fix every single one. Number 1. You are being too kind with your watering. I know that sounds completely backwards, but hear me out because this one trips up almost everyone. When seeds are just starting out, they are tiny, fragile, underground passengers. They need moisture to wake up, yes. But they do not need you hovering over them with a watering can twice a day, just to be sure. In fact, that extra love is drowning them. Here is what happens when the soil stays too wet. The seed sits in moisture for too long, the outer coating softens and breaks down the wrong way, and something called damping off sets in. Damping off is a fungal condition, and once it hits, it looks like your seedling simply melted at the base. One morning the little stem is standing proud, and the next morning it has folded over like a wet paper straw. The fix is beautifully simple. Water your seeds well when you first plant them, then wait. Touch the top of the soil with your finger. If it feels cool and there is still a little moisture when you press down slightly, do not water. Come back tomorrow. You are not neglecting them. You are trusting them. Number 2. Planting in the wrong kind of container. Now this one is sneaky because most people assume any pot, any tray, any old container will do the job. And technically it will hold soil. But not every container is right for seeds. The biggest issue is drainage. Seeds sitting in containers without proper drainage holes are basically sitting in a slow flooding situation. The water has nowhere to go, and the roots, when they finally form, cannot breathe. The second issue is depth. Very shallow containers, things like old margarine tubs or tiny decorative pots, do not give roots enough room to stretch downward. When roots hit the bottom and have nowhere to go, the seedling above ground stops growing too. It just sits there looking alive but stunned. What works best? Seed trays specifically designed for starting, or small individual cell pots that are at least 2 to 3 inches deep. Recycled containers are wonderful, truly, but always poke drainage holes in the bottom before you use them. A warm nail or a small drill bit works perfectly. And here is something older gardeners figured out long before the gardening stores started selling special containers. Old egg cartons work well for seeds that you plan to transplant quickly. Cardboard ones especially, because you can plant the whole section directly into the ground without disturbing the roots at all. Number 3. Starting seeds in outdoor garden soil. This is the one that has been passed down through generations without question. Dig up good soil from the garden, it looks rich and dark. Why would it not work for starting seeds indoors? Here is the reality. Garden soil carries everything your garden has ever known. Old fungal spores, weed seeds waiting to sprout, bacteria, and often tiny insects or their eggs. Outside, these things are balanced by weather, earthworms, and natural predators. Inside a small warm container, they multiply fast and overwhelm a seedling that has not yet built any defenses. Outdoor soil also tends to compact indoors over time. It gets dense, and those tiny new roots cannot push through dense soil. They get trapped, they struggle, and the plant above never thrives. What you want instead is called a seed starting mix. You can buy it, or you can make a basic version yourself with equal parts fine compost, coconut coir, and perlite. That combination stays loose, drains well, holds just enough moisture, and is light enough for even the smallest root thread to navigate through. Number 4. Planting seeds too deep. Almost every seed packet lists a planting depth. 1/4 inch. 1/2 inch. Sometimes just surface so. And most of us, with the very best intentions, think deeper must be better. More protected. More likely to survive. But seeds are not like bulbs. They do not have stored energy to push through several inches of soil. A seed has just enough energy reserves to reach the light from its recommended depth. Plant it too deep and it uses up all its energy trying to reach the surface. It never makes it. You never see it. And you wonder what went wrong. The rule of thumb that experienced growers use is this. Plant a seed at a depth that is roughly 2 to 3 times the size of the seed itself. A tiny lettuce seed, barely visible, goes almost on the surface with just a light sprinkle of mix on top. A larger bean seed goes about an inch down. If you have lost your reading glasses and cannot quite read the back of the packet, there is an easier way to remember. When in doubt, go shallower. A seed planted slightly too shallow will find a way. A seed planted too deep rarely does. Number 5. Skipping the hardening off step. You have done everything right. Your seedlings are looking strong and green under their grow light or on the windowsill. You are proud of them. The weather outside is finally warming up. And one enthusiastic Saturday afternoon, you carry the whole tray outside and plant everything directly into the garden. 3 days later, half of them look sunburned, windburned, or just completely shocked into stillness. What happened is called transplant shock, and it comes from skipping a process called hardening off. Seedlings that have grown indoors live in a controlled, sheltered world. No wind, consistent temperature, no direct outdoor sun. The moment they go outside permanently without a transition period, the change is overwhelming. Hardening off means spending about 10 days to 2 weeks gradually introducing your seedlings to the outside world. Start with just an hour or 2 outside in a sheltered spot, somewhere with shade and protection from wind. Bring them back in. The next day, add another hour. After a week, they can spend full days outside. After 10 to 14 days, they are ready to stay. Feels like a slow process when you are eager to get things in the ground. But those 2 weeks are the difference between thriving plants and heartbroken ones. Number 6. Not paying attention to light, only to warmth. This is a subtle one, and it is responsible for a specific problem that gardeners describe as their seedlings looking leggy. Long stretched out stems. Pale color. Flopping over before they are even an inch tall. What is happening is the seedling is reaching. It is stretching itself toward the light source because the light is not strong enough or not close enough. The plant is growing desperately upward trying to find what it needs, and in doing so it grows thin and weak. Windowsills are wonderful for many things, but even a bright south-facing window often does not give seedlings the intensity of light they need during the early weeks. The glass filters light, clouds reduce it, and the angle changes as the season shifts. If your seedlings have been looking stretched and pale, it is not a soil problem or a watering problem. It is a light problem. A basic LED grow light placed 2 to 4 inches above the seedlings for 12 to 16 hours a day makes an enormous difference. They do not need to be expensive. Even a simple clip-on grow light works beautifully for a small seed tray. And the difference in how those seedlings look, compact, sturdy, a deep, healthy green, will make you wonder why you waited so long to try it. Number 7. Starting everything at the same time. There is something so satisfying about a big seed starting day. You lay out all your packets, fill all your trays, and get everything planted in one long, lovely afternoon. Feels organized. Feels productive. But here is the quiet problem. Different plants have very different timelines. Tomatoes need 6 to 8 weeks indoors before they are ready to transplant. Cucumbers only need 2 to 3 weeks. If you start both on the same day, your tomatoes will be perfectly ready right when your cucumbers are already overgrown, root-bound, and struggling. Each plant has what is called its weeks to transplant number. This is how many weeks before your last frost date you should start that particular seed indoors. Tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants need the longest head start. Squash, cucumbers, and melons need the shortest. Herbs fall somewhere in between depending on the variety. The simple fix is to work backwards from your last frost date and make a little planting calendar. It does not need to be complicated. A sticky note on your refrigerator with each plant name and its start date is more than enough to keep you organized through the whole season. And when you do this, something wonderful happens. You stop having trays of seedlings competing for the same windowsill space at the same time. Things flow. Plants are ready when the garden is ready for them. And your whole growing season feels, for the first time, like it is working with you instead of against you. So there they are. 7 mistakes that kill seeds quietly, without drama, and without leaving you any obvious clues about what went wrong. Too much water. Wrong containers. Outdoor soil indoors. Planting too deep. Skipping hardening off. Not enough light. And starting everything at once. None of these are complicated mistakes. And none of them make you a bad gardener. They make you a normal one. Most of us learn to garden by watching someone else, and some of these habits have been passed down for generations without anyone stopping to question them. But now you know. And knowing changes your very next tray of seeds. If this helped you today, click that like and subscribe button and also share it with a friend who gardens. You might just save her entire spring crop. And if you have a question or a story about a seed starting struggle you have had in the past, drop it in the comments below. See you in the next video.